a lot of the risk premium that is dumped on Africa in particular, okay, is essentially the world saying that this is how we are used to perceiving the individual. And if you don't conform to it, all right, that means you're more risky. Let me give you examples. So if I don't have a zip code, for some reason, in most countries or the equivalent of a zip code, I'm risky. Well, in Africa, we don't have zip codes. Even if I am the richest man, Aliko Dangote doesn't have a zip code. So if your credit score process requires a zip code, all of a sudden, he's not good for credit. Okay. I don't have a passport. Okay. Well, if I want to get a passport in Nigeria, I have to wait 3 years. Okay, I hear that there are some advanced countries that the wait time is now 3 years, but you know, um, okay, but you really got to hustle to get out your passport. So again, you want me to fill a form and you're asking for a passport number and I don't have it and so on. So I'm just giving you examples where, to be honest, I mean the risk premium is very exaggerated. But because of the fact that those who have economic power globally dictate the rules upon which things work, SWIFT, and payment systems and acceptance into global payment systems and, basically the way the world works. It's, and we don't have the kind of voice I'm seeing in Africa, either here or, alongst many other, by New York, I'm saying in the UN and so on, these rules are made. And so we struggle to have to live by those rules. Now, some of the problems are there are actually fewer and fewer African banks that are members of the international global payments community. Okay. Thankfully, we saw this coming, and as Access Bank, that's one of the reasons why we've set up banks across, the world. So if you have a bank in the UK that's Access Bank in the UK, that is a licensed participant in the UK clearing system, okay, Access Bank stays in this clearing system. Now, if you're a Nigerian bank, okay, and you're not in that clearing system, okay, you've got to apply to a UK bank, and you may be bigger than the UK bank, by the way, to make your payment. So when you see all this routing business and so on, and so you're routing through that bank, a payment. That bank then demands that you show evidence that all your customers have zip codes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if they don't, then of course, I'm going to label your payments in a certain way. So a payment coming from you, all right, is deemed immediately of a higher risk status, than a payment coming from, a country that is more compliant based on global standards. So I'm just giving you this context of risk. And then, of course, is the fact that from time to time, African nations do get into payment challenges. I mean, Ghana is a recent example, okay? And, and you have 10 years of good work messed up, by this, a challenge, of this nature. At the end of the day, right, if you really think about the 1.6 billion Africans who are basically excluded from payment systems, excluded from ability to just participate as global citizens, it's really unfair because they don't deserve it, and the risk attached to them or the risk weighting attached to them is not true. But then it's the hand we're dealt.
Short of, I think, maybe the perceptions changing here, how does that get changed? Or is that what actually needs to happen?
If the perceptions don't change here, there's not much you can do unless, of course, you try to, which is why you have the arguments of alternative, BRICS Bank, this and that. But the truth is that the US dollar and then the euro, okay, are still very much embedded in the fabric of our economy. So for those who export oil, oil is still going to be sold at price per dollar per barrel for a long time. Okay, just for example, I think certainly I think cocoa is priced. I don't know if cocoa priced by in euro and dollars.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just shows you how these things work. At the end of the day, right? Africa will solve its problems when it starts producing in Africa. If I really think about the power of African content and what you can do if you brand it, okay, then you start, so we can have drinks coming from Africa, okay, that have the power of LVMH brands. We can have clothes coming from Africa, made in Africa. So when you talked about this influencer, the dance guy, okay, so people watch him and they're looking at what he's wearing, okay, and what he's wearing is cool, and they want to dance like that, they want to look like that. So when we can kind of break whatever constraints there are to making sure that whatever is dancing is made in Africa, then real money. And that's when real money starts getting made. I mean, the hair, that's what I think our strength is. And I might be talking about hair, clothes, and so on, but I'll give you the example of LVMH, the richest man in the world, right? Essentially makes his money by branding these products. I think that's our low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And it's not that easy, because if it was, I'll be LVMH Africa,